As part of our Transit Equity Network, we wanted to share some updates with a lot of folks. And if you're in the Transit Equity Network, my guest is no stranger, Sara Catalinotto from PIS, New York City, who we also hosted a school bus safety panel back in October. So if you haven't watched it, please go to our Transit Equity Network YouTube channel and watch it. But Sara, thanks. It's good to see you again.
It's great. Yeah. Transit equity seems to be really strong this year. I'm seeing a lot about it online and celebrating Mrs. Rosa Parks.
Absolutely. Now, tell us, since we did Transit Equity Day last year, as well as with the school bus panel, what updates have been happening in New York City as far as school bus transportation?
Okay, well, I mean, the problems are sort of coming out of hiding now to the point that a broader segment of the population is aware, and not just the most affected, riders and families and workers and school staff. One thing that did happen was that the union that represents a majority of our school bus workers here almost went on strike. So there was a lot of attention, around the news, and the parents, more than ever before, were front and center with a lot of support of saying to the city that whatever little band-aids that they were offering that was supposed to alleviate if there wasn't, fully staffed buses, was not adequate. These ride shares, which I can get a little more into, uh, they require the parent to get in the car with the student there and back, and then go where they have to go and come back and get the kid again and back home. And that makes it almost impossible for people to keep their regular job. So that was dismissed by the parents, and other things. We kept in very good contact with the leadership of the union, which is Amalgamated Transit Union Local 1181. And it took a long time, but they did get the companies to go along with improvements that bring them somewhat back to where they were before, the last 10 years of kind of like bad uh, deterioration of the rights and the payments and the wages and benefits. So, the parents were thanked for our part in it, and that bond is, remains strong. We do still have a shortage of um, qualified folks doing the work, as with a lot of places. What we are pushing for now is that the city, despite the fact that they do subcontract this to mostly to private bus companies, is that they got to take some responsibility to like advertise or have recruitment fairs, and make it accessible to people who might be really good at it, but they don't have that seed money to go get their licensing and their training and their certification. We saw from speaking with folks in Boston, Massachusetts, that that was done. It was actually written into the agreement between their union, the company, and the city, and it resulted in day one of the school term in September, there was every bus route was staffed. So it can be done, you know. So we're not taking no for an answer on that.
That's wonderful. And we definitely thank the good folks at ATU 1181 for all the hard work with helping you all get to that point. It's kind of mentioned into the webinar that we did last year. Most people don't think of school bus transportation as public
Trans.
transit. Yeah, like how do you what would be your response to change that narrative?
Well, In New York in particular, it's probably people say the largest bus fleet there is the school bus. You know, there's like almost 9,000 yellow vehicles scooting around, and we our kids are the public. They're part of it, and it's public education, and so it really should be considered a public service. Um, we marched with the union in Labor Day, and they were near all the other transportation folks. You know, it's kind of this overlap between transportation and education. It does get treated, I think, by society more as transportation, but to us, the especially for students who have the busing because of its part of their special education services. The person, the second adult on the bus, whether you call them a monitor, matron, or attendant or aide, they are actually working for the school system. They are providing what's considered a related service of the individualized education program, just like a speech therapist, just like a counselor or some, you know, other provider with special skills and training. So we would like for the school systems everywhere, you know, to embrace and take full responsibility for this as just like any other service for the children, not just logistics of getting from point A to point B. It's who's on that bus going from point A to point B, and they need the respect. And um, yeah, couple of
Absolutely.
the
And
developments I wanted to mention. Um, there's a coalition of lawyers, the Education Law Task Force in New York City, and since the summer, they put together, with help from ourselves and other parent councils who work on special education, a uh, federal official civil rights complaint to the Office of Civil Rights of the U.S. Department of Education, alleging that there's discrimination because students with disabilities have a rougher time getting to school on time and safely than other students. Um, and that has been, there's been one meeting between those lawyers now with the federal lawyers, and, you know, something else will be on the horizon. And these type of processes take a lot of time, but we're going to do our part from this, you know, busing rights movement to promote the fact that this is happening, to use it as leverage to get these violations to stop, you know. And there's a whole list of remedies being proposed there, which, you know, will probably need to be fine tuned, and some will work, happen and some might not. But that's something that has not really happened, you know, in the time that we've been doing this. And that's the legal strategy. As far as the electoral strategy, we are, you know, trying again. We've kind of a month behind, but there's a window now to collect petitions for a ballot referendum for a school bus bill of rights, which uh, emphasizes creating a commission, um, and it falls under engagement of marginalized groups in the city charter, to have a commission that is drawn from elected leadership of parents, workers, educators, and the disability rights movement, the self advocates, the individuals, um, to set the policy and, you know, to drive what happens in the system of school busing, rather than leaving it up to just kind of folks in an office who have IT skills and, you know, got a job because they were already known in the Board of Education, but they've not living through what we're living through. And, you know, they listen, but then they do what they want to do. So Those are,
Right.
that's the goal. That's the goal of the School Bus Bill of Rights, but it's a prohibitive process. It's difficult. So we're going to need fundraising and we're going to need, publicity and we're going to need boots on the ground for that.
Absolutely. And where can people find you if they want to get involved with all of this?
Well, we are as PIST space NYC on Facebook. There's a group that constantly has like back and forth conversations with parents and drivers about their experiences. There's a page by the same name. Um, there's a Twitter, and it's just PIST NYC. And our website, which has resources and a gallery page that presents the School Bus Boulevard details in various modalities, video, a sign language, etc. That is also pistnyc.org. You can, that's up all the time.
Absolutely. Sarah, always wonderful to have you. And I absolutely commend you all for the great work you're doing in New York City. And everyone, please go follow the links. Sarah Catalinotto, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, transit equity.
That's right.